The phone call came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing acquisition contracts in my home office. "Emma, we need to talk about the cruise," Mom said without preamble. I set down my pen and pulled up my calendar. The cruise. My parents' 40th anniversary celebration. 7 days in the Caribbean on the Ocean Meridian, departing Saturday from Miami. "What about it?" I asked. "Your sister and I have been talking," Mom said, which was never a good sign. "And we think it would be best if you didn't come." I blinked at my computer screen. "I'm sorry, what?" "The cruise is for family," Mom continued. "Real family. People who've been supportive. People who care about the family image. You know how you are, Emma. You'll show up in your thrift store clothes and embarrass us in front of everyone." "Everyone being?" "Your sister Ashley and her husband Michael. Your brother Daniel and his wife Sophia. Uncle Richard and Aunt Patricia. The Johnsons from Dad's Country Club. The Websters. Basically everyone who matters." "I see," I said calmly. "You're not upset, are you? I mean, you understand. This is a milestone celebration. We want everything to be perfect. We want to take beautiful photos. We want to enjoy ourselves without worrying about." "About me," I finished. "Well, yes," Mom said. "You have to understand, sweetheart. This is important to us. And having you there dressed the way you dress, driving that awful car, talking about your little property management job, it's just not the image we want to project." "Hey," I said. Mom paused. "Okay, that's it. You're not going to argue." "No," I said. "Enjoy your trip, Mom." "Oh, that's wonderful. I knew you'd understand. You're so good about these things. Never making a fuss." "Happy anniversary," I said and hung up. I sat in my office for a long moment looking at the framed photo on my desk. It was from 5 years ago, the whole family at Christmas. I was standing in the back, slightly out of frame, while Ashley and Daniel beamed in the center with their spouses. Then I opened my email and composed a message to Marcus Chin, the operations manager of Oceanic Luxury Lines, the company that owned the Ocean Meridian. Subject: Change of plans, Ocean Meridian Charter. Marcus, please remove the following names from the guest list for the Ocean Meridian 7-day Caribbean Charter departing Saturday. Robert and Linda Foster, all associated bookings. Ashley and Michael Chambers. Daniel and Sophia Foster. Richard and Patricia Foster. Plus 12 additional guests on their booking. Add the following to the guest list. Emma Foster, owner's suite. Also, please ensure the crew understands that the Foster party is not cleared to board. Security should politely redirect them to the port office where they can contact me directly. Best regards, Emma Foster, owner Oceanic Luxury Lines. I hit send and closed my laptop. The Ocean Meridian wasn't just any cruise ship. It was a boutique luxury vessel with only 200 passenger capacity, all-suite accommodations, Michelin-starred dining, and a price point that made it inaccessible to most travelers. A week-long charter cost approximately $380,000. My parents had been planning this anniversary cruise for 2 years. They'd saved, budgeted, sacrificed. The total cost for their entire party was around $145,000, which included the discounted group rate they'd negotiated. What they didn't know was that I'd purchased Oceanic Luxury Lines 14 months ago. The company had been struggling. 3 aging ships, high maintenance costs, outdated booking systems. The previous owners had been looking for an exit. I'd offered $127 million for the company, plus $43 million for immediate ship refurbishments and system upgrades. Total investment, $170 million. Current portfolio value after improvements, approximately $215 million. The Ocean Meridian was the flagship vessel, and after a $12 million renovation last year, it was now one of the most sought-after luxury cruise experiences in the industry. My parents had booked it back when it was still under previous management. Their deposit had been transferred when I'd acquired the company. I'd seen their names on the manifest but hadn't thought much about it. Until today. My phone buzzed with a response from Marcus. Understood. Changes implemented. The Foster party has been removed from the manifest. Should I send them a cancellation notice? I typed back, no. Let's let it be a surprise. Saturday morning, I drove to Miami International Airport in my 2015 Honda Civic. It took 6 hours from where I lived in Atlanta. I could have flown, could have hired a driver, could have done any number of things that would have been more comfortable. But I liked driving. Gave me time to think. I arrived at the port of Miami at 1:47 p.m. The Ocean Meridian was docked at Terminal 5, gleaming white against the blue sky. She was beautiful, 300 feet of elegant luxury, completely refurbished with my money. I parked in the lot and grabbed my single carry-on suitcase. I traveled light. Always had. The port was busy with weekend departures. Families with mountains of luggage. Couples in matching cruise shirts. Elderly travelers being assisted by porters. I walked toward Terminal 5, scanning the crowd for familiar faces. I spotted them near the check-in area. Mom and Dad, both dressed in expensive resort wear. Ashley in a designer sundress. Michael in a polo that probably cost $200. Daniel and Sophia looking like a magazine ad for luxury travel. Uncle Richard, Aunt Patricia, and the entire entourage of their closest friends. They were laughing, taking photos, excited about their week ahead. I walked past them toward the priority boarding line. I was wearing jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and sneakers. My suitcase had wheels that squeaked slightly. Ashley saw me first. "Oh my God, is that Emma?" she said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "What is she doing here?" Mom's head whipped around. Her face went from confusion to anger in about 2 seconds. "Emma," she called out, hurrying over. "What are you doing? I told you not to come." "I'm going on a cruise," I said simply. "No, you're not. This cruise is for family. I specifically uninvited you." "I know," I said. "Excuse me, I need to check in." I stepped up to the priority desk where a young woman in a crisp uniform was waiting. "Good afternoon, Miss Foster," she said with a warm smile. "Welcome aboard. We're so pleased to have you sailing with us today." "Thank you, Jessica," I said, reading her name tag. "Has everything been arranged per my instructions?" "Absolutely. Your suite is prepared and Captain Morrison is looking forward to meeting with you this evening." "Excellent." Jessica handed me a key card. "You're all set. Boarding is through the priority lane. Your luggage will be delivered directly to your suite." "Wait," Mom said, pushing forward. "There must be some mistake. We have reservations. The Foster party. 14 guests. We've been planning this for 2 years." Jessica's smile became more professional, less warm. "Let me check on that for you, ma'am." She typed on her computer. Frowned. "Type some more." "I'm sorry, Mrs. Foster. I'm not showing any reservations under that name." "That's impossible," Dad said, joining us now. The whole family was gathering around the desk. "We have confirmation numbers. We paid a deposit. We have emails." "I understand, sir. But according to our system, the Ocean Meridian has been chartered for a private event this week. All previous reservations were canceled when the charter was booked." "Chartered?" Mom repeated. "By who?" "By me," I said. Everyone turned to stare at me. "What are you talking about?" Ashley demanded. "I chartered the ship," I said clearly. "The entire ship. For the week. Just me." "That's insane," Michael said. "Do you have any idea how much that costs?" $380,000, I said. "Plus gratuities." "I'm aware." Mom laughed. It was a sharp, disbelieving sound. "Emma, stop lying. You can barely afford rent. You're not chartering a $380,000 cruise." "Actually, I'm not chartering it," I corrected. "I own it. I bought the entire cruise line last year. The ship plus 2 others. The company is called Oceanic Luxury Lines. I'm the sole owner." The silence that followed was profound. "You're lying," Ashley said flatly. "You're making this up to get attention." I pulled out my phone and showed them my email exchange with Marcus. Then I pulled up the corporate documents showing my ownership of Oceanic Luxury Lines. Dad took my phone, his hands shaking slightly as he scrolled through the documents. "This can't be real," he whispered. "It's very real," I said. "I purchased the company for $170 million. That's including the cost of refurbishing all 3 ships. The Ocean Meridian alone underwent a $12 million renovation." "Where did you get $170 million? Mom asked, her voice faint. "From my commercial real estate portfolio," I said. "I've been investing in properties for 9 years. Started with a duplex. Bought another property. Then another. Built it up over time. Current portfolio value is approximately $340 million, not including the cruise line. No one spoke. They all just stared at me like I'd grown a second head. So, I continued, when you called on Tuesday to uninvite me from the family cruise, I decided to exercise my rights as owner and remove your reservations instead. This ship is now chartered exclusively for my use this week. You can't do that, Daniel said. We paid for this. We have a contract. And your contract was with the previous owners, I said. When I acquired the company, all existing reservations were subject to review. I chose to cancel yours. The deposit will be refunded in full. But this is our anniversary cruise. Mom said, her voice rising. We've been planning this for 2 years. Everyone we know is here. I know, I said. That must be disappointing. Emma, this is cruel, Aunt Patricia spoke up. This isn't like you. Isn't it? I asked. How would you know what I'm like? When was the last time any of you asked about my life? It's what I do. Asked if I needed help or support or just someone to talk to. We didn't know you were. Uncle Richard gestured vaguely at me. We didn't know you were rich. And that's the problem, I said. You didn't care about me when you thought I had nothing. Now that you know I have something, suddenly it matters. We do care about you, Mom insisted. Do you? I challenged. Because 2 days ago you told me the family photos didn't need me. You told me I was an embarrassment. You uninvited me from your anniversary celebration because of how I dress and what car I drive. Mom's face went red. I didn't mean, I was just trying to. You were trying to exclude me, I finished. And now I'm returning the favor. Ma'am, Jessica interrupted gently, I'm going to need you to step aside. There are other passengers waiting to check in. The family moved away from the desk in a daze. I picked up my key card and headed toward the boarding ramp. Emma, wait. Dad called after me. Please. Can we talk about this? I turned back. There's nothing to talk about, Dad. Enjoy your anniversary. There are plenty of other ways to celebrate in Miami. But we planned, everyone flew in, we spent. You spent money you could have used more wisely, I said. Maybe this is a good lesson in priorities. I walked up the boarding ramp. Behind me I could hear Mom starting to cry. Ashley was on her phone, probably trying to book alternative accommodations. Daniel was arguing with another staff member. I didn't look back. The owner's suite was on the top deck, accessed by a private elevator. It took up nearly half of the entire level. 3 bedrooms, a full kitchen, a living room with floor-to-ceiling windows and a private balcony with a hot tub. The furniture was all new. I'd personally approved the designs during the renovation. Plush white couches, teakwood accents, marble countertops in the bathrooms. Everything was pristine and elegant. I stood on the balcony and looked down at the dock. My family was still there, clustered in a group, clearly arguing about what to do. Their luggage was piled around them like a small mountain. My phone started ringing. I declined the call. It rang again. Ashley this time. Declined. A text from Daniel. This is crazy. You're being insane. We need to talk. I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb and set it on the counter. A knock came at the door. I opened it to find Captain Morrison, a distinguished man in his 50s with silver hair and a crisp white uniform. Miss Foster, he said with a slight bow. Welcome aboard. I wanted to personally ensure everything is to your satisfaction. Thank you, Captain. Everything is perfect. I understand this is your first voyage with us as owner. I hope it will be everything you imagined. I'm sure it will be. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to contact me directly. He handed me a card with his personal extension. I appreciate that. We set sail in 90 minutes, he said. Departure is at 4 p.m. sharp. After he left, I unpacked my single suitcase and changed into comfortable clothes. I made myself a cup of tea from the suite's kitchen and returned to the balcony. The Ocean Meridian had 200 passenger capacity. This week it would have exactly 1 passenger. Just me. At 3:45 p.m. I heard the engines rumble to life. The ship's horn sounded, a deep, resonant note that echoed across the port. I watched from my balcony as the crew prepared to depart. Lines were cast off. The gangway was retracted. On the dock my family was still there. Mom was sitting on a suitcase, her face in her hands. Dad was on his phone, probably trying to reach me. Ashley and Michael were arguing. Daniel was gesturing angrily at the ship. At exactly 4 p.m. the ocean meridian began to move. Slowly at first, then more steadily we pulled away from the dock. I stood on my private balcony, tea in hand, and watched my family get smaller and smaller as we sailed away. My phone was lighting up with missed calls and texts. I ignored all of them. The first 2 days at sea were blissfully quiet. I explored the ship, all 10 decks of it. The main dining room with its crystal chandeliers. The spa with its heated pools and massage rooms. The library with its leather chairs and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. The observation deck with its comfortable loungers and stunning views. The crew was attentive but not intrusive. They'd been informed that I was the owner and preferred privacy. Meals were delivered to my suite or served in empty restaurants where I could eat alone while the staff hovered at a respectful distance. On the third day I finally checked my phone. 47 missed calls. 63 text messages. 12 voicemails. I scrolled through them. From Mom, Emma, please call me. We need to fix this. This is horrible. From Ashley, you're being a spoiled brat. Grow up. From Daniel, Dad had to cancel everything. Do you know how embarrassing this is? From Dad, Emma, I understand you're hurt, but this isn't the way to handle it. Please call me. From Uncle Richard, your mother is devastated. Is this really what you want? I deleted them all and called Marcus instead. Miss Foster, he answered immediately. How is everything? Perfect, I said. The ship is beautiful. The crew is excellent. I wanted to thank you for handling the situation at boarding so professionally. Of course. Though I have to tell you, we received several complaints from the Foster party. They attempted to contact corporate to have the charter reversed. And I informed them that you are corporate. There is no one above you to appeal to. I smiled. How did they take that? Not well. There were threats of lawsuits. Claims of emotional distress. Demands for compensation beyond the deposit refund. Let me guess, they want money for the flights they booked, the hotels, the lost vacation time? Precisely. Deny all of it, I said. The contract is clear. Reservations are subject to cancellation. They were refunded in full. We have no further obligation. Understood. I'll have our legal team send a formal response. After I hung up, I sat on my balcony and watched the ocean. We were somewhere between Grand Cayman and Cozumel. The water was impossibly blue, stretching endlessly in every direction. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Hello. Emma, it's Aunt Patricia. Please don't hang up. I almost did, but something in her voice stopped me. I'm listening. Your mother asked me to call. She's too upset to talk. Emma, this has gone too far. She's been crying for 3 days straight. Your father had to cancel all their anniversary plans. The entire family is furious. And I said, and you need to fix this. You need to let them on the ship. You need to stop this childish revenge fantasy and act like an adult. Childish. I repeated. Aunt Patricia, my mother uninvited me from a family event because she was embarrassed by how I dress. She told me the family photos didn't need me. She made it clear that I wasn't good enough to be included in her perfect anniversary celebration. She didn't mean it like that. Then how did she mean it? I interrupted. Please, explain to me how telling your daughter she's an embarrassment is supposed to be interpreted. Aunt Patricia was quiet for a moment. Your mother sometimes says things she doesn't mean. She was stressed about the trip. She wanted everything to be perfect. At my expense, I said. She wanted perfection that didn't include me. But buying the cruise line? Taking the ship away? That's excessive, Emma. I didn't buy the cruise line to take revenge, I said. I bought it 14 months ago as an investment. A good investment, actually. The company is now worth significantly more than what I paid for it. The fact that my parents happened to have a reservation on one of my ships was pure coincidence. So cancel their reservation was coincidence too? No, I admitted. That was deliberate. But only after Mom made it clear she didn't want me there anyway. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Maybe not, I said. But it does make a point. What point? That you don't get to treat people badly and expect them to just accept it. That actions have consequences. That maybe, just maybe, you should think twice before dismissing someone. Aunt Patricia sighed. What do you want, Emma? An apology. I want them to understand, I said. I want them to see me as something other than an embarrassment. I want them to value me for who I am, not for what they think I should be. And you think humiliating them is the way to accomplish that? I think showing them that the daughter they dismissed is actually more successful than they ever imagined might be a good start, I said. But honestly, I'm done trying to prove anything to them. I'm done trying to earn their respect. I'm just done. Emma. I have to go, Aunt Patricia. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hung up and turned my phone off completely. On day 5, we docked at St. Thomas. I went ashore and spent the day exploring Charlotte-Amalie, the capital. I walked through the historic district, bought some local art from a street vendor, had lunch at a small cafe overlooking the harbor. No one recognized me. No one cared that I owned the massive cruise ship docked in the port. I was just another tourist in casual clothes enjoying the island. It was the most peaceful day I'd had in months. When I returned to the ship that evening, there was a message waiting for me from the captain. Miss Foster, there's a gentleman at the port office claiming to be your father. He's requesting permission to come aboard. Should I grant access? I stared at the message for a long time. Finally, I wrote back, send him to the conference room on deck 7. I'll meet him there. 20 minutes later, I walked into the conference room to find Dad sitting at the long table looking exhausted. You flew to St. Thomas? I said. I needed to talk to you, he said. You won't answer your phone. Because I don't want to talk. Emma, please. Just give me 5 minutes. I sat down across from him. You have 5 minutes. Dad took a deep breath. Your mother and I, we made a mistake. A big mistake. We hurt you. We dismissed you. We treated you like you were less than. And I'm sorry. Hey, I said. That's it? Just okay. What do you want me to say, Dad? That it's fine? That I'm over it? I'm not. You and Mom spent years making me feel like I wasn't good enough. Like I was a disappointment. Like I needed to be hidden away because I didn't fit your image of success. We didn't mean it that way. Then how did you mean it? I asked, echoing my conversation with Aunt Patricia. When Mom uninvited me from your anniversary cruise, when she said the family photos didn't need me, when she made it clear I was an embarrassment, how was I supposed to interpret that? Dad looked down at his hands. We were wrong. We didn't understand. Didn't understand what? That you'd built something incredible, he said. That you were more successful than any of us. That you were doing it all quietly without needing validation or approval. And if I hadn't been successful? I asked. If I really was just scraping by working odd jobs struggling to pay rent, would you have treated me better? Would I have been worthy of respect then? Dad didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said, standing up. Your 5 minutes are up. Emma, wait. What do you want from us? What can we do to fix this? I paused at the door. I want you to understand that my worth isn't tied to my net worth. That I deserved respect even when you thought I had nothing. That family should matter more than appearances. But I don't think you can understand that. I don't think you're capable of it. That's not fair. Isn't it? I said. Dad, be honest. If I hadn't bought this cruise line, if I hadn't revealed my portfolio, would you be here right now? Would you be apologizing? Or would you still think I was an embarrassment who didn't deserve to be in the family photos? He didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said again. Goodbye, Dad. I left him sitting in the conference room and returned to my suite. The ship docked back in Miami on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I disembarked with my single suitcase and walked to my car in the lot. My phone, which I'd turned back on that morning, immediately lit up with messages. One from Mom. Emma, please call me. We need to talk about this properly. I'm sorry for what I said. Please give me a chance to make this right. One from Ashley. You've made your point. You're rich and we didn't know. Congratulations. Can we move past this now? One from Daniel. Dad told me what you said to him. You're right. We were wrong. Can we talk? I read them all, then started my car and drove home to Atlanta. That evening, I received an email from Marcus with the voyage report. The Ocean Meridian had performed beautifully. No mechanical issues. Excellent weather. The crew had been pleased to serve, even with only one passenger. He also included a financial report. The charter fee I'd paid myself was pure accounting. Money moving from one company I owned to another. But the operational costs were real. Fuel, crew salaries, food, maintenance. The week had cost approximately $285,000 to run. For one passenger. It was by any measure an absurdly expensive way to make a point. But as I sat in my modest apartment, yes, I really did live in a modest apartment even though I could afford much more, I thought about what that week had bought me. Peace, clarity, understanding, and the knowledge that I didn't need my family's approval to be successful. I didn't need their validation to be worthy. I didn't need their presence to be whole. My phone rang. Mom again. This time I answered. Hi, Mom. Emma. She sounded relieved. You answered. I did. Can we talk? Really talk? I'm listening. I was wrong, Mom said. About everything. About uninviting you. About being embarrassed by you. About treating you like you were less than. I was wrong and I'm sorry. Hey, I said. I know you're angry. I know you have every right to be. But Emma, you're my daughter. I love you. And I don't want to lose you over this. You didn't lose me over this, I said. You lost me over years of dismissing me, belittling me, and treating me like I was a disappointment. The cruise was just the final straw. I know, Mom said quietly. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try. I don't know if you can fix it, I said honestly. Some things once broken don't go back together the same way. Can we at least try? Mom asked. Can you give me a chance to do better? I thought about it. Thought about years of feeling inadequate. Thought about the relief of finally standing up for myself. Thought about the peace I'd felt on that ship, alone, not trying to prove anything to anyone. Maybe, I said finally. But it's going to take time. And it's going to require real change, not just apologies. I understand, Mom said. Whatever it takes. We'll see, I said. I have to go now. Emma, before you hang up, your father told me what you said. About deserving respect even when we thought you had nothing. You were right. You did deserve that. You always deserved that. Thank you for saying that, I said. But you should have known it before I had to prove it. I hung up and sat in my apartment looking out at the city lights. I owned a cruise line worth $215 million. I had a commercial real estate portfolio worth $340 million. I had assets that most people couldn't even imagine. But what I'd really bought with that expensive, extravagant, absurd charter was something much more valuable. The understanding that I didn't need my family's approval to know my worth. And maybe, eventually, they'd learn to see me the way I already saw myself. Not as an embarrassment. Not as a disappointment. But as someone who'd built something extraordinary, quietly, carefully, and entirely on my own terms. My phone buzzed with one final text. From Dad, I'm proud of you. Not because of the money, but because you had the courage to stand up for yourself. Love, Dad. I smiled and typed back, thank you. That means more than you know. Maybe some things could be fixed. Maybe some relationships could be rebuilt. But they'd be rebuilt on my terms this time. With respect. With understanding. With the recognition that worth isn't measured by what you own, but by who you are. And I knew exactly who I was.